Welcome to Worlds UK, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The Columbia River Treaty, signed in 1964, is a landmark agreement between the U.S. and Canada, representing a pivotal moment in the history of international cooperation over shared natural resources. The treaty was designed to address two major concerns: harnessing the river's immense hydropower potential and providing effective flood control for communities along its banks. Originating in the rugged mountains of British Columbia, the Columbia River winds its way through the Pacific Northwest, serving as a lifeline for both people and wildlife across the region. Over the decades, the treaty has enabled the construction of massive dams, transforming the river into a source of clean energy and a safeguard against devastating floods, while also reshaping the landscape and local economies. Yet it's important to recognize that Indigenous communities, whose lives and cultures have long been tied to the river, were initially excluded from these decisions. Today, their voices and perspectives are finally being included in ongoing renegotiations. In recent years, as key provisions of the treaty have expired, renewed attention has been drawn to the need for updated agreements that reflect modern values and challenges, including climate change and ecosystem health. The Biden administration reached an in-principle agreement in 2024, aiming to modernize the treaty, but the transition to President Trump has since stalled negotiations, leaving the process in uncertainty. This pause has sparked concern among local communities, environmental groups, and indigenous nations, raising urgent questions about the future of resource management, water rights, and cross-border cooperation. As the situation continues to evolve, the Columbia River Treaty stands at a crossroads, challenging both nations to reconsider their priorities and responsibilities for the river's future. The treaty's significance extends far beyond economics or politics, highlighting the enduring need for collaboration, mutual respect, and shared stewardship between nations. Ultimately, the Columbia River Treaty serves as a model for international water management, striving to balance human needs, environmental protection, and the rights of all who depend on this vital river. Water talks between the U.S. and Canada are crucial, forming the backbone of a partnership that has shaped the region for decades. The Columbia River alone provides 40% of the U.S.'s hydroelectric power, fueling millions of homes and businesses across the Pacific Northwest. It also supplies nearly half of British Columbia's power, making it a lifeline for both countries' energy needs and economic growth. Effective management of this shared resource is essential for energy security, economic stability, and the reliability of power grids on both sides of the border. Beyond energy, the river supports vast agricultural lands, thriving industries, and provides clean water for cities and towns, impacting millions of lives daily. Treaty provisions help manage water flow, preventing devastating floods and ensuring a steady supply for all users throughout the year. As climate change alters rainfall patterns and snowmelt, water availability becomes less predictable, making efficient bilateral management more critical than ever. The river's health directly affects delicate ecosystems, including salmon runs and countless species that depend on its waters. Local communities, from small towns to indigenous groups, rely on the river for their livelihoods, culture, and traditions. The Columbia River Treaty stands as a powerful example of international cooperation, showing how neighboring countries can work together to solve shared challenges. In today's interconnected world, environmental issues like water management transcend borders, requiring open dialogues, trust, and innovative agreements. As negotiations continue, the importance of these water talks cannot be overstated. They shape the future of both nations. These discussions highlight the necessity of cross-border collaboration in tackling not only water issues but also broader global challenges. The treaty serves as a reminder that sustainable resource management requires ongoing dialogue, compromise, and a shared vision for the future. By maintaining open and honest communication, the U.S. and Canada can address mutual concerns, protect vital resources, and promote long-term regional stability for generations to come. Tensions between the U.S. and Canada were heightened by an anti-tariff ad from Ontario, featuring a 1987 speech by Ronald Reagan. The ad warned against high tariffs, challenging President Trump's trade policies. Ontario Premier Doug Ford aimed to highlight tariffs' negative impact on Canadian industries. The ad aired during high-profile events, drawing significant attention. The Ronald Reagan Foundation criticized the ad for misrepresenting Reagan's message. This sparked debate over political advertising ethics and using historical figures in modern discourse. While the ad echoed Reagan's caution on tariffs, its timing raised questions about intent. The ad became a flashpoint in U.S. Canada relations, influencing bilateral negotiations. It highlighted the complex interplay between domestic politics and international diplomacy. The incident underscored the delicate balance needed to navigate trade and diplomatic tensions. President Trump's response to the Ontario ad was swift and unequivocal, denouncing it as fake and accusing it of misrepresenting Ronald Reagan's legacy. He took to social media and the press to express his outrage, calling the ad a blatant attempt to interfere in U.S. affairs and undermine his administration's credibility. In a dramatic move, Trump announced the immediate termination of all ongoing trade negotiations with Canada, including the critical Columbia River Treaty, which had been a cornerstone of cross-border cooperation for decades. This decision marked a significant escalation in tensions between the two countries, sending shockwaves through diplomatic and economic circles on both sides of the border. The freeze reflected Trump's characteristic approach to international trade, leveraging America's economic relationships as a tool for achieving broader political goals, even at the risk of straining alliances. By halting negotiations, Trump aimed to send a clear and forceful message to Canada about the consequences of challenging U.S. policies, hoping to pressure Canadian leaders into reconsidering their stance. The decision was framed by the administration as necessary to protect American interests, assert national sovereignty, and demonstrate that the U.S. would not tolerate perceived interference from foreign governments. Reactions in the U.S. were mixed and passionate, with some applauding Trump's assertiveness and willingness to stand up for American values, while others criticized the move as reckless and warned of potential economic fallout. Canada's response was measured but cautious, with Ontario officials announcing a pause in the ad campaign to allow for diplomatic talks, hoping to de-escalate the situation and avoid further conflict. The situation highlighted the complexities and sensitivities of international negotiations, as well as the powerful impact that media campaigns can have on diplomatic relations and public perception. Ultimately, the freeze raised urgent questions about the future of U.S. Canada relations, the stability of cross-border agreements, and the shifting dynamics of global geopolitics in an era of heightened tensions. The freeze in talks poses challenges for managing the Columbia River's resources. As the largest U.S. hydropower source, disruptions threaten energy stability, leading to potential shortages. The treaty's provisions are vital for flood control, protecting communities from flooding risks. Without coordinated efforts, both countries face heightened risks of environmental and economic damage. For Canada, disruptions could impact British Columbia's energy stability and growth. This underscores the importance of a sustainable agreement addressing both nations' needs. The situation highlights resource management's broader implications in an era of climate change. Effective cross-border collaboration is essential for sustainable resource use and protection. The freeze serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of environmental, economic, and political issues. Reaching a sustainable agreement is crucial for both nations' energy and environmental stability. The pause in negotiations heightens environmental concerns, impacting the Columbia River ecosystem. The treaty manages water flow, affecting fish populations, water quality, and habitat preservation. Without coordination, ecological degradation risks increase, threatening biodiversity. Indigenous communities seek greater inclusion in treaty discussions, addressing historical injustices. The current freeze jeopardizes efforts to restore salmon habitats and acknowledge Indigenous sovereignty. Environmental groups emphasize sustainable water management, prioritizing ecological health. The situation underscores integrating environmental considerations into treaty discussions. Balancing economic development with environmental stewardship is crucial. A holistic approach is needed to address environmental and social issues alongside economic interests. The freeze prompted varied responses from leaders in both countries. In the U.S., Trump's administration defended the decision to protect American interests. Stephen Miller framed the freeze as a strategic response to perceived challenges. In Canada, Prime Minister Mark Carney emphasized resolving the dispute diplomatically, Carney engaged with Ontario Premier Doug Ford to pause the ad campaign and resume talks. British Columbia's Energy Minister Adrian Dix voiced concerns over energy supply impacts. Dix initiated public sessions to explain the paused talks' implications. The situation drew international attention, noting the freeze's broader geopolitical implications. Leaders' responses will shape the Columbia River Treaty's future and bilateral relations. The freeze in talks presents potential outcomes and future implications. If stalled, both countries face challenges in managing the Columbia River's resources. Disruptions could lead to energy supply issues, increased flood risks, and ecological degradation. A resolution could renew collaboration and sustainability commitments. Addressing concerns, including Indigenous rights and environmental conservation, is crucial. A comprehensive agreement would strengthen bilateral relations and set a resource management precedent. Effective diplomacy is vital in addressing complex global challenges. The Columbia River Treaty highlights the need for cooperative solutions balancing economic, environmental, and social considerations. The treaty's future depends on both countries' willingness for constructive dialogue and compromise. Prioritizing mutual interests and sustainability ensures the Columbia River's health and prosperity. The freeze in talks is more than a diplomatic standoff. It's pivotal for shared resource management. The Columbia River Treaty, a cornerstone of cooperation, is at risk, affecting energy, the environment, and stability. The situation underscores global challenges, interconnectedness, and the need for collaborative solutions. It affects millions relying on the Columbia River for energy, water, and livelihoods. Sustainable resource management is crucial in an era of climate change and geopolitical uncertainty. The negotiations' outcome sets a precedent for future international agreements. The freeze highlights Indigenous communities' rights, historically marginalized in treaty discussions. Prioritizing their inclusion and addressing environmental concerns is essential. Resolution requires careful diplomacy, compromise, and a shared commitment to mutual interests. By working together, the U.S. and Canada can ensure the Columbia River's continued health and prosperity.